Hi, anyone and everyone. This is Kim the Humble Hermit from Come As You Are Oracle. We're going to do the collective for today. Today is Friday, August 1st, 2025. You may follow me on the Talk the Tube, my blog, or not. Totally up to you. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If it doesn't fit, don't make it fit. If some of it fits, fabulous. God's kiss. We love that for you. Whatever does not, just leave it on the table for someone else. We don't want you taking on energy that wasn't meant for you, right? We're going to use the Kitsch Pop Oracle. This is Hattie Thorne's deck. You can find this at hattiethorne.com. She's also on Etsy. I'm going to set that over here on the windowsill. Let me move the tarot cards. I hope everybody had a good Friday or whatever day it is, wherever you are. Thursday, Saturday. We got 3 on the table. Four on the table. We got 6. 2 more shuffles. 7 on the table. One last shuffle. We got 8 with bottom of the deck. Some of these pictures on these cards are hilarious. It's like all 80s stuff. Oh my god, the charm bracelets. I think we got those out of gumball machines. I can't remember. I don't even think they do stuff like that anymore. They were like cheapy kind of looking charm bracelets, but for a while there, everybody had them in the 80s. We got velvet scrunchie, claw machine, peel off tattoo. We got magic 8 ball. We got a cracked compact, glow stick, halo. I used to do the bracelet ones. I don't know. I didn't ever do the one for your head, but I used to do the bracelet ones, and then there's just the little wands. Plastic tiara. And bottom of the deck, slushy spill. Feminine, masculine, take how it resonates. It doesn't matter. With this scrunchy card, like somebody stretched something as far as it can go, and now that they feel like it's time to release it. So whether this is like a relationship, whether this is like a situation, a work situation, I mean, it literally could be anything, right? It's like testing your limits, pushing yourself to your limits, and then realizing, okay, like I gotta let something go. With the claw machine, like like when you look at the claw machine, right? Like you know how a claw machine works. You put in like $1 and it like moves around, and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna grab this for you, and then like psych. It's like somebody realizing like they push something to the limits, they need to release it. It's just not worth like fighting for. And I know that kind of sounds like shitty, but I mean sometimes situations, they aren't worth fighting for. Sometimes it's time to just be done. You know what I mean? And with the peel off tattoo, if something didn't last or something was short lived, it doesn't mean that it didn't have meaning, right? Anytime you get involved with a person, anytime you have something come up in your life, a life event, a situation, whatever the case, everything has meaning. Like you can take away meaning from everything. Some people would even say you put too much meaning into stuff, right? Like you give too much stuff meaning. It doesn't mean that something, just because it's like no longer worth your time and it's time to let it go, it doesn't mean that at one point it wasn't worth your time. It doesn't mean at one point it wasn't helpful or useful. Sometimes we outgrow things. Sometimes we just need to move away from things, people, situations. The card says temporary doesn't mean fake. You could say like if this were a relationship, like, yeah, we loved each other once. It was real. People fall out of love, right? It doesn't mean that like the relationship wasn't there. It doesn't mean the love never existed. It just means the season is over, you know? Like things come to an end. There there is a phrase like all things must come to an end, but where did that come from? I have my phone this time. I was charging it. Let me see. It's a proverb. Hmm. Okay, it says it's a proverb, but then when you look, who said all things must come to an end? Geoffrey Chaucer. Geoffrey Chaucer, English poet. is often credited with the quote. So it's a proverb that they quoted. And then it says Bible 1 Peter 4:7-8. Sorry, I don't know how to say that kind of. I know there's like a way to say that. I don't. Everything will soon come to an end, so be serious and be sensible enough to pray. Most important of all, you must sincerely love each other because love wipes away many sins. Everything will soon come to an end. And he said, all good things must come to an end. So he kind of changed it a little bit, is basically what they're saying. Like almost the same thing, but not quite. Let me plug this back in. For some reason, I was at work and my damn phone got down to 20%, and I didn't even use it at all, like all day. With the Magic 8 Ball card, if somebody if this is a relationship, right? Like you're gonna have to take how it resonates for you. But if this is a relationship and somebody is needing to release the relationship, the other person, with the Magic 8 Ball, if there's some type of miscommunication about like how the relationship ended or how one or each of these people behaved, there's not always clarification. Like sometimes you just have to go with what you know and leave it at that. You know, many times people watch tarot and oracle on YouTube and TikTok because they think they're going to get some answer. And sometimes they do, right? Sometimes people do get answers. Sometimes people don't like those answers. Sometimes people want specific answers that just aren't there. It's definitely more difficult, like when you're ending a relationship or a situation, a work situation, whatever the case may be. It's often more difficult to like close and heal when you don't know exactly what happened. You know, my relationship with the ex best friend, and like I know specific things about what she did to me and why I walked away from that friendship. But there are other things in the background that are more hazy, that didn't necessarily have anything to do with me, or at least not wholly, right? The thing is even with all the things that I knew and all the things that I didn't know, at some point I literally just needed to say, it doesn't matter. Like I need to heal from this situation. I need to move on from this situation. I need to move away from this person. If I never have all the answers, I never have all the answers. It is what it is. And I can still heal from that. It might take longer, might take less. I mean, I think it just depends on the person. But you can heal from something not having all the answers. It's probably not what any of us would want, right? People like to have clarity, people like to have that closure, but we don't always get it. And, we still need to move on. We can't just sit here in this energy waiting for the rest of our lives. And it's kind of funny. The crack compact card says, "Beauty fades, clarity doesn't." It kind of gives me that, like, me personally, I would want honesty and truth. I was just talking about this with a friend at work, cuz she's like, not everybody's as honest as you are, as truthful as you are, as blunt as you are. And I said to her, I said, I just, like, I'm too old to bullshit. I'm too old to give bullshit, and I'm too old to put up with bullshit. And that's just how I look at it. And she's like, "Well, some people don't want to hurt other people's feelings." Now, here's the thing. I realize telling somebody the truth, being honest about something, yeah, you could possibly hurt somebody's feelings. In the long run, like, I would rather somebody hurt my feelings and I actually have clarity on the situation than not. And I guess I just feel like the other side of that coin is living in fantasy land. I don't ever want to live in fantasy land. I would rather you tell me the truth, say what you have to say, set me straight, whatever the case. Because knowledge is power. There was I think it was on Facebook, there was some kind of little article in there about, oh, it was about James Vanderbeek from Dawson's Creek, right? Dawson. And about how he got diagnosed with cancer. And him and his wife decided to be open and honest with I think there's 6 kids. This is daddy's diagnosis. This is what is most likely going to happen. He's going to get treatment, whatever the case may be, like whatever they said to the kids. And I got on there and I made a comment and I said, you know, being open and honest with children about a situation is always going to lead them to be more well-rounded adults. I feel like when parents lie to their kids, parents, try to protect their kids, like, and this is just me personally, like, you don't need to protect your kids from death. You you need to prepare them in a way, if that makes sense. I think I think kids are taught from an early age to fear it. I think when you withhold information and you keep them in the dark, I think they learn to fear it. That's just my opinion. And it's kind of funny because I remember when I was like, I don't know. I think it was when I was 17, because I think it was when I was 17 that summer the ex-best friend's mother passed away. My great grandmother passed away and my cat passed away. Um I'm pretty sure it was the same summer because it was my great grandmother, then my ex best friend's mother, and then our cat died technically in the fall, I want to say. I want to say like September, October, I think. I remember when my great grandmother passed away, my grandfather called. Now, this is my dad's dad. And he called and he said, hi. And like, I'm just calling because, your great grandmother passed away, your grandmother's mother, which, I knew what he was talking about. And he's like, if you could just let your dad know and then to give us a call. So again, I was 17. I remember him telling me and being like, "Oh, okay, like, yeah, I'm so sorry. Like, I'll let Dad know." Da 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 da. As soon as I got off the phone, like, I started to bawl. I started to bawl. When my dad came home, I couldn't tell him. I could not tell him. I really could not tell him. And my mom came home like maybe an hour after my dad, and I remember telling my mom, and I remember crying, being like, "Great grandma's gone, and Grandpa called, and I couldn't tell Dad." And the thing is at the time, like, that felt kind of like overwhelming. Looking back on it as an adult, I like, my mother got really mad at my grandfather for doing that. She's like, "Oh, he shouldn't have put that on you." It wasn't, for me, it wasn't even that. It was just the fact that, like, I had to look my dad in the eye and tell him, and I knew I couldn't do it without crying. I couldn't do it. Like, I wanted to, I couldn't do it because I knew I was gonna bawl, and then I was afraid he wasn't gonna understand me. And so when she came home, I told her, and she told my dad, because it was his grandmother, my great grandmother. I don't think my grandfather did anything wrong. I I don't think I really don't think he did anything wrong. I think he thought I was mature enough to handle it. And technically I was. I was afraid I was gonna, like, bawl and not be able to tell him. And it's kind of funny because my mom made it seem like, "Oh, he told you and he shouldn't have told you, you shouldn't have put that on you, you're just a kid, blah blah blah." But the thing is it's not even like her passing was the first passing I had experienced. I've had a lot of family pass away in my lifetime. I've lost a lot of people from my family. And I don't think it ever gets easier, but I think it gets, how do you say it? Like, it's not easier, but it's definitely not like a surprise. I don't know how else to say that. I think once you really experience, like, a family member passing, I think you recognize that, like, this is just the natural order of things. People are born, people grow old, and they pass away. That's how it goes. I'm a firm believer in being honest and being truthful, and that means even with kids. And that's everything, you know? Death, religion, sex, whatever. Like, they should never feel like they can't, like, ask a question or be included in something because, oh, they're not an adult. I mean, obviously you don't want them involved in anything violent or anything like that, but even that, kids play video games. They already know what violence is. If there's, with the glow stick halo card, if there's some type of clarity revolving this situation, I think whoever this is wants that clarity, wants that knowledge. Somebody with the glow stick halo too, somebody like wishes there was some type of clarity about a situation. Pardon me. With the slushy spill, you can't control the mess, but you can make the best of it. You can't control what somebody tells you, if somebody's going to give you clarity on a situation or not. Like the magic 8 ball says, uncertainty is uncertainty. Uncertainty is its own answer. Like you can't control somebody coming to you with the truth, being honest with you, right? Only you can control what you do, your action, your reaction. Sorry, I swear I'm not sleeping. I swear I'm not sleeping. With the plastic tiara card, like, yeah, you don't need clarity, right? Like, again, you can move on with your life without the clarity. You're still going to be the person that you are. You're still going to do the things you're going to do. Be with the people you're going to be with, hang out with the friends, whatever. You know, if this is about leaving a job and not having a clarity on, like, you know, why you got let go or something like that, like you don't if you went to work every day and you knew you did a good job and they still let you go, like what is there to think about? Like layoffs are layoffs, you know what I mean? You don't need a reason to wear the crown. Like whoever this is, the clarity, on a situation, whether it was fake, whether it was real, why it didn't last as long as it did, or why it did last as long as it did. It's like I said, getting all the answers or not getting all the answers isn't really going to change who you are. It could make it easier, again, to deal with a situation or deal with a past person, but you don't need that to move forward. Like you can move forward and heal yourself and move on without it. And I think this is kind of funny. Like this resonates for me in the past and right now. That current situation I'm going through at work. I was talking about it with one of my friends and she's like, "I think you should just go up to him and talk to him and just, apologize and say, this, that, and the other." And I'm like, "I don't want to say anything." And it's not because I'm trying to be difficult. It's not because like I'm trying to like slight them in some type of way or like, ha ha ha, now I'm fucking you over. It's not like that. I told her, I'm like, I'm done. I'm done stirring the pot. Like I said what I had to say. He didn't want to talk to me about it after the fact. I'm just going to have to go by what I know in the situation to heal myself from the situation and move on. I told her, I said, I don't want to push anything. I said, I don't want him to feel like he's being harassed or anything like that. And she's like, well, you probably want to cover your ass, like say something to cover your ass. And I said, say something to cover my ass. I feel like if I reach out and say anything else, I feel like he's gonna think it's some type of harassment, and I don't want to go there. I'd rather just figure out my shit, heal myself, move on from the situation. And I told her, I said, it doesn't matter at this point anyway. I said, I can be nice to him in regards to work and have a conversation with him about like items and picking and packing and stuff. I said, our relationship, the way that it was before, will never be like that. Will never be like that. I mean, I would never allow it to be like that because, and not because I feel like, oh, you're going to fall in love with them again. No, it's not that. I'm not going to put myself in a position where the possibility to basically, I guess, use and abuse me is, like the norm, because I know how I feel about the situation. I know what I think. I have no idea how he feels or thinks. But if there's any part of him that's manipulative, calculating, if I were to go in and apologize and try to say something and try to reach out, and then if I were to let our relationship just go back to the way it was, it's basically leaving that door open for him to be like, "Oh, like we put each other through all this shit and she just came back. So she's needy, she needs a friend, like I just don't want to put that energy out there. Never mind the fact that I just like at this point I don't really have a lot of respect for him. I don't really have a lot of respect for him. Like to me it's not worth it to like go back and forth with him or anything. Like I just need to get on with my shit and move on with my life. And like I said to her, I said, we can be friendly at work. Like if he needs help with an item, you know, if I have to go cover him for break or vice versa, like I'm not going to be mean to him. I haven't been mean to him. That's the thing. And I told her that. I said, I haven't been mean to him. It's not like I walk around giving him dirty looks or anything. I just keep my distance. I just keep my distance because, he obviously didn't want to have a conversation about it, about what was going on between us or what wasn't going on between us. So I told her, I said, I don't want to rock the boat any more than I already have. I don't want to upset him or make him feel any type of way. So like I'm just kind of bowing out, I guess. And it's kind of and this reading kind of reminds me of that. It's like realizing that something went on for too long, you need to release it. Realizing you can't chase something anymore, realizing, it's time to let it go. It doesn't mean that it wasn't real for you, right? Like my situation doesn't mean that it wasn't real for me. It just means it's over. It's done. Like it's time to move on. All the uncertainty, all the clarity I didn't get, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I need to just figure out how to let it go and move on from there. And I've said this before too, like when I talk about like my epiphany moments, like when I had the falling out with the lady last year in November, and then like a few months later, like I started having these epiphany moments, and I started taking responsibility. Well, not a few months, probably like a few weeks. I started taking responsibility for my own actions. Like I can't not be me and do what I'm going to do. Like I still have to be me as a human being. Whether I have clarity on a situation, whether I feel like I'm lost or not. Like I can't let certain things affect me, right? The slushy spill card, it says you can't control the mess, but you can make the best of it. And I feel like when we learn to heal ourselves without all that information, without the clarity, I feel like you're an even more evolved human being because you have to figure that out for yourself in your own time, in your own way. In this plastic tiara card, you don't need a reason to wear the crown. It's kind of that thought, like with the ex best friend, like she apologized once, but it was like that narcissistic apology, like, oh, if you feel like you need an apology. I think I'm going to leave it there. I feel like I'm just talking in circles. You guys know what I mean. Sometimes you don't get clarity. Sometimes things are uncertain. Sometimes situations remain foggy, remain unclear, and you still need to heal from it and move on. It's not going to be any less healing. It's just taking the time to realize like I need to release this and let this go, whether I have clarity or not, an explanation or not, a story or not. Definitely going through that right now. I'm going to leave it there. I hope it resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope, if anything, you were entertained. I'll talk to you later. Bye.